And that's how we started our stream. Well, we like bold choices on this channel, so fuck it, we're doing live. I'm glad that's how we're starting. Welcome to Welcome to Roleplay Give. We are a virtual tabletop gaming community. Tonight we are playing Masks of Nyarlathotep, the classic campaign set. Well, it's not really a setting because everything is set on Earth, but just with creepy crawly monsters everywhere. But the classic, there's monsters. We've been playing this game for a year and a half. There's been You had a monster in your party. Clyde's a Karasiri. Oh no, he's not. He's not. Alright, Clyde. Alright, so tonight we are picking up where we left off 2 weeks ago. This is our first time playing 2 games in a row in I don't know how long, but it's awesome. So we are picking up where we left off 2 weeks ago, which was, I believe they had just left and gone back to their hotel. They had just left the offices of the Cairo Bulletin, where they had I would call it a clandestine meeting with a captain of the British Army and it's clandestine in that they really wouldn't, want a lot of other people to know what they were talking about. And the editor of the Cairo Bulletin, Mr. Nigel Wasif, they became aware of these two gentlemen because they went to and I cannot remember the name of the bar, Corey? The special bar there at the Long Bar. All right, that's right. Okay, so at the Long Bar inside their own hotel. And they were there and ran into, well, 2 of them were observing the entire bar, whereas Colt, real name Purdy, sort of accosted some British officers who were drinking loudly, then made the acquaintance of their commander, who then put him in touch with Nigel Wasif, and they shared information briefly about the Penhew Foundation and some of their concerns in the bar and agreed to have this meeting. Meanwhile, Harmon, who is now currently going by Oliver, saw a man looking rather forlornly drunk. Or no, the man just actually approached him after you made eye contact. Wasn't that right? And then he came up and sort of, for a drink, I will tell you my life story, and began to tell his tale of woe working for the Clive expedition, which is funded by the Penhew Foundation, and sort of an odd and yet strangely specific and maybe not entirely unfounded fear of cats. And I believe, and I know that Clyde, who is currently going by Carl, and Daisy, who is going by Rosie, were sort of people watching, keeping an eye on the bar in general and their colleagues as they were speaking to others, trying to see if anybody else was acting untoward, or if there was anybody else who was potentially of interest in the area. They came up with a couple of theories about some people, none of which panned out, and then they ended up following along towards the bulletin. I believe also in that time Oliver managed to secure at least a half-day's services from a dragoman for the following morning. The dragoman's name was Salim Naziz, and I think we ended with them leaving the offices and going to bed. Am I wrong? That sounds really challenging. Am I wrong? But did I miss anything? Yeah, okay. We've played 3 games in a row. Have we really? Oh, well. Oh my gosh, that's right. That's right. Oh, this is amazing. This is outstanding. And we're playing in the evenings, which is kind of fun too. Well, now uh, I can have a whiskey in the middle of the game as well. Uh, that's, well, oh, I don't know. I think some things are stopping me. Yeah, I think nothing was stopping me. I think you just named what was stopping me. Yeah, Dawson. Is that black cat in our backyard? An orb spider just dropped from my ceiling right in front of the computer. Stopped and went, oh crap, I'm right in front of a human. I better go up. uh, shh. What are you guys barking at? I'm not breathing slower. This is not helping. Jar. You humanely removed from your abode. That's what we do too. Same. We even wasps. We get them out as humanely as possible. House flies have to die. Uh, well, yeah. I mean, if as long as it's the fly's pointless unless it's a dog toy, and then it's not pointless. So. So, welcome to Call of Cthulhu or the Household Animal Kingdom. I started this. I apologize. My somebody like, is setting Arlo off, like just absolutely setting him off. He cannot handle himself right now, and I can't tell what it is. But he has lost his damn mind. He's a nervous dog to begin with, but he is driving me nuts right now. All right, 1 second. Oh no, he's actually a good boy. Um, but he's loud. He's like an anime. I enjoy the story, but it's loud. All right, let's get into this game. Yeah. I do enjoy. No, I don't hear it. No. All right. So, was there anything else? I'm just going to say that we're just going to have you go to your hotel rooms, which are in the same location as the Long Bar. Uh, Anything else you wanted to do that evening, or what do you do the following morning, of which Carl/Clyde will be taking an extraordinarily long shower? You did. You got one. The one that I think you ended up that has the long bar is Shepherd's, and then you have 2 rooms in Semiramis. Semiramis? Uh, okay. Maybe have Clyde go with you. That'll be a good thing. We can just say happened in the middle of the night. You guys went there, checked in. Uh, Clyde's still at Semiramis right now. You went back and to Shepherd's. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure Dawson listens to the games on his way back, so I'm sure he's sitting there going, "I've got gastroenterological distress." That's so, we'll say that Clyde is planning to meet up. Clyde is going to keep the ruse up at Semiramis by staying there, and he'll meet up with you guys later. So that's how we'll explain Clyde's absence until Dawson can get on stream. The three of you that morning, I guess we'll have Purdy slash Colt return to the hotel in the early morning. What do the rest of you want to do? Take advantage of it while you can. Okay. Uh, as you go down to the lobby, at the concierge is a man dressed in sort of traditional. Uh, he's the words are in here, but I am not an expert, and this is one of the things that's hard with this game is like you can really sort of gloss over legitimate and important cultures by your own ignorance. But he is wearing the sort of, is it like the to keep the sun off, like um, just like a not a turban because that is a wrap, scarf wrap, but and so but yet the rest of it is sort of a sort of Western sort of button down attire, and he greets you in very good English. And everyone, the concierge speaks excellent English. The bartender speaks excellent English, but English is not just like everywhere here. And so he has excellent command of English. And it's my understanding that I am to be your guide, your dragoman, for the next. And he, pulls out a pocket watch. I know I have to be back here at the hotel by noon to meet my next clients. Salim Naziz, I'm at your service. I, I I can make you two recommendations, and each comes with some risk. Um, I will be happy to make you aware of the risk, but uh, and I don't want to do an accent over the top here. I'm going to just go back to my regular voice here. But uh, he's he says basically he knows of two other unemployed currently almost dragomen because the legitimate dragomen are hired by the hotels and by consulates and stuff like that, and these are people on the make. And he says, I can. Hakim is fairly good. His English is excellent. There's very few dragomen who will have more than a couple words outside of the the ones that you would hire here. Um, but I have a third cousin, I think you would call it, named Mahmoud. He's I've had to get him out of jail, but he is resourceful and he is loyal. Um, Mostly just things like pranks and other little sillinesses, but I would just he knows everywhere on Cairo, and his loyalty. Let me put it this way: if you give him money, he will spend it right away, and then he'll need more. And so he could be a good resource. I said I was going to do an accent, and I fell right back into it. He could be a good resource. Hakim, the connections there are better. I have doubts about whether your coin would be good enough for him not to take advantage of you. Mahmoud's English is not as good. He may struggle a little bit understanding you. He might, how do I put this? He might fuck off in the middle of what you need. He has a good amount of English, and he has a decent amount of French. And he can speak Arabic very well and Coptic a little bit. I don't know. Let's find out. I'm not familiar with this language. Is it north of United States? Clyde has his own language and no others. Daisy, you only have English, right? I would give you I'd give you a roll. I'd give all of you a roll on any of the European languages, really. Even like we did Spanish. I think I had a couple like give it a go. By the way, that might be how you pick up a couple bits of the language too. You take a roll at it, and if you get it, then I would give you like a 5 in it. If you rolled under a 5, then you could start building up your language. I don't think that's actually in the rules, but I think it's fair. I think if you're around other people speaking things, you might pick something up. So basically, you have a 5 in everything. There are some things you don't. Like I don't think Cthulhu Mythos you have anything. You start out a 0-0, I think, and I think there are some that you have a 0-1 in. Like it's a 1 in 100 chance. Yeah, I think there are a couple where they're just like really low baseline. The chances of you in 1925 knowing how to operate heavy machinery, unless you work around it, are pretty low. I didn't write the game. Because when I read that, I'm like, oh, psychoanalysis, the extraordinarily flawed like process of. But anyway, yep. Oh no. Oh shit. I unmuted everything except you guys. Because normally the top bar is the sound for all of the visual effects I have a sound with them, but never shows up anyway. It just assumes there's a sound, so I thought that one was the one I was supposed to. So I've left you guys muted the whole time. Thank you. That is an urgent message.
Yeah, are we unmuted yet?
You are unmuted.
Because I have to let the sender of the telegram know that he's currently on the pooper constantly pooping until he arrives. So
Ron,
he's gonna have to start making some constitution checks to figure out if he survives if he takes too long.
all right, Ron.
I heard from Ron, but
Okay. I just heard from Ron and Dawson and Bottle of Zen. So, yay! Sorry, everybody. I forgot to turn their audio on. And
The person who sent the telegram knows who I was talking about.
And you know what? You've mostly missed conversations about our pets and animals that we've run into and how we remove them from our houses. So I don't think anybody's out much. But what we have established that you didn't hear, this is one I'm not going to upload to YouTube or I'll edit it heavily. What we have established is that Clyde / Carl and well, you've heard me talking, so you probably have the context here. But Carl and Colt went to the other hotel to make sure they could keep their rooms. Carl stayed in the other hotel because he had gastroenterological distress, and Colt returned to Shepherd's, and they are now speaking with Salim Naziz, their dragoman for the morning, who has made some recommendations based upon questioning that you didn't hear from the party, and have some idea what they want to do. So now we're at the morning, and if I missed a message that Dawson's ready to jump in, as soon as Dawson, you are ready, send me a message so that I can put us on pause and bring you into the game. Because I can't just click you in. I need to get it recut. So, all right. So, what do you guys wish to do with the time you have with Mr. Salim Naziz?
well, we do have a couple of people we were hoping to speak to. He could perhaps guide us to.
I will do my best. Oh. Who are you hoping to find? And maybe I can help you.
There was the gentleman who sold previously sold curios or things. I can't recall the name, but and then there is a gentleman at the Cairo Museum we would like to speak to.
It would be very easy to take you to the Cairo Museum. The gentleman who sold curios, there are many. I would.
One of my companions may have a better memory than I on the name.
Yeah, I'm sure
You would all remember
and
Faraz Najjar.
That's it.
So
On Jackal Street or something like that.
Oh yes, I know the Sharia Jackal, and he will. Which would you prefer? I probably cannot get both done within the span. It's the streets are crowded. Even in a car, you're not gonna make great speed.
Out of character, what were we being referred to the Cairo Museum for? I don't recall.
To speak with Dr.
Kafur,
Professor Kafur, because he was somebody who would know more about what was happening with the dig, with the Clive expedition, and also knows just about everything. He was an expert on the era of Queen Nitocris, who you were made aware of in the last round, was the mummy that went missing, that the Clive expedition was potentially burying the lead on, or deferring blame on.
Well, I'm not sure. What do you think?
I feel like our most recent information is pointing us to maybe speak with the gentleman at the museum. He might be easier to find as well. I don't know.
I also feel like we might have a little bit of like we might be getting into something very specific, and he seems like the one who might be able to give the most general information that we can work off of as we move more specific.
Sounds good. Let's do that.
I've just looked in Twitch and Bruno texted in the name of the guy for Nashar. That's awesome. Okay. So, you guys are heading to the Cairo Museum. Correct? Okay.
Yes.
So Salim takes you over there. It's sort of one of those things where he's like, I sort of feel like I'm taking a little bit advantage of you, in that you could find this on your own. And he points, and you can see over the rooftops this sort of burnished, bronzy dome. The problem is you could find your way there. There was once this.
Of course, we would be deprived of the pleasure of your company.
Well, I appreciate that, sir, but I had an archaeologist here last year, and he got lost in this museum. And I thought perhaps maybe you would need me to at least get you back to the hotel.
Oh, in our profession, we refer to that as blending in.
Oh, I did not know this. I will remember this for archaeologists in the future. And he takes
we were sort of told too that it wasn't really safe always to be traveling around on our own. So
no,
I guess I'm just trying to get used to the city, and even if I might know where something is, it helps to have a guide. Maybe make some introductions.
Absolutely, and that is a value that I would have. And however, I am not. I can help get you past, perhaps with a little bit of language and some advice to you. I can help get you into, say, where the academics are at in the Cairo Museum.
We can smell out our own.
Indeed. And he says, but you're right. It is a good idea for me to stay close by. And in fact, perhaps to the center of the road now. And he moves you towards the center of the road, and there's bikes zooming on either side of you. Occasional car goes by, but he's moved you past a couple of alleyways, and eventually you come to the Cairo Museum, which is a beautiful building. I've actually not seen it, and I didn't look it up. And, when we first started this game, I was really good about like, oh, is this a real place? Can I go look it up? Can I find pictures? And lately I've been like, I haven't been doing as well with my own research. But according to the book, it is a gorgeous building, and it is rather large, and it is brimming with artifacts, and part of this is out of a rather recent surge of nationalism in Egypt, whereas for the past 100 or so years, colonial powers have been coming. There's a fascination about Egypt ever since the Rosetta Stone in the early 19th century, and the British and the French have kind of taken quite a bit of stuff and put it in their own museums, and so now the Egyptians are sort of asserting their will of keeping their antiquities in Egypt. And so this is now all these sort of, they can't almost even keep up with what's coming in kind of feel to the but you're brought to the front lobby, and a couple of words are exchanged in Arabic. And I don't believe any of you speak Arabic, or anything adjacent. And so a couple of words are exchanged in Arabic, and a ask for an introduction to Dr. Now I'm forgetting his name. To Dr. Kafur is made, and you are sort of asked to wait. I'm going to say that just because I don't know how far out Daw is from getting to the computer, I'm going to say that he was given, word to come to the Cairo Museum best he can. And we'll see if we can get him in there while you guys are still here. Otherwise, this will be a fun chase scene. So, but after it's some 25 minutes before the sort of clerk there at the concierge station there for the museum says Dr. Kafur will see you, and some directions are given to Salim, and we're now at like 10 a.m. ish at this point, and you are sort of he's given directions, and you walk down a couple of hallways and into back alleyways, and you're seeing just, to our modern minds, you're just walking past things that, are usually under glass, and they're on tables to be sorted. They're tagged. You're in the back rooms now. You're not in the front. But the fact that they're just laying on tables, from our modern minds, these 1,000-year-old artifacts are just sitting there. And eventually you're brought to an office, and in the office is a man who is got in front of him several sort of fragments of stone on a desk in front, and he is copying stuff, sort of the hieroglyphs off of the stones into a journal book. And I'm going to see if I have a picture ready for you. Handouts, Egypt. Oh, that's not him. Do I have Kafur? Yeah, there he is. All right.
I was muted, but the game is paused, which I don't remember. I seem to remember that causing problems with us seeing attachments. But it could be.
Is it unpaused?
It.
No, you're not. I think I just.
Now we see it. Okay.
Okay. Did I show it to you? Do you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. All right. So that is, he's sort of a youngish man, in his sort of, I'm gonna say youngish because I just had my birthday, in his early 40s, and he sort of looks up at you sort of expectantly, and in very good English, you wished to see me specifically, I am told. How may I be of service to you? I was given that several of the Americans, they didn't talk to, they lumped you in, Rosie. Wish to speak merely. How may I be of assistance?
Dr. Kafur, I'm Professor Oliver Martin, professor of archaeology back in America. Although not Egyptology specifically, really beside the point. We're looking into a number of things, and it was suggested to us that you might be resident expert on Queen Nitocris and what might have been found recently, or rather lost, more pointedly, of hers.
But he just sort of steeples his fingers. Yes. I imagine I would be the reference point for questions about Queen Nitocris. Specifically, how may I help you?
Well, to put it bluntly,
I have no opinion about the recent discovery and disappearance. Tomb raiding is a thing that has occurred for 2,000 years. It would be impossible for me to speculate without knowing more. But I would be happy to answer questions about Queen Nitocris, should you be interested.
Well, I'm afraid I'm not certain what exactly we're looking to discover here.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, I'm curious. Sometimes there are, stories attached to certain rulers about curses or bad things happening to those who dare disturb, the eternal slumber. I'm just curious if this particular queen has any such stories attached to her.
So he sort of slowly stands up, and I keep saying this because all these rooms are really small. This whole game is based upon being in academics' offices, and if you've ever been in a professor's office, they've usually got a table and 2 chairs, at best. And so he gets up, sort of wiggles between all of you, and then shuts the door. Then sits down and says, "I regret that I don't have a lot of accommodation to make you comfortable. Yes, there is much cursed about Queen Nitocris.
Do you feel cursed?
But no. I'm speaking historically. I am speaking of her reign. I am speaking of the reign before it. Have you ever heard of the Black Pharaoh?
Yes, we have.
Where did you become aware of the Black? I'm sorry about my crappy accent.
Don't worry about it. Just roll.
Corey was laughing about something that had nothing to do with pretty.
I just saw you laugh, and I'm like, it's right when I went. And I was like, I'm not sure if I haven't wandered into Russian, which is what I usually do.
Don't worry.
And it's a bad Russian.
That's the thing for this channel. Everybody who's not European is going to be Russian.
All right. So.
Da!
It's how we do it.
And if we do it consistently, then I guess we're kind of mocking Russians, but
that's
but we're not making fun of any other cultures.
Go for it.
Holy crap! I didn't realize Dawson was that far away. He's in Fond du Lac currently.
Tell him to come over and play from your house.
Yeah, he just
pop in. Tried to give him some Imodium, but that kid's gonna die by the end of this session.
You were not summoned. I'm just bringing up the fact I just saw you were in Fond du Lac actually at the time. I'm like, oh man, you've still got like 45 minutes to go. All right. So, and that's okay. We can work with it. If we need to bring you in, we'll ask, and then you can chat in. Although you shouldn't do that while driving. But
he's just texting names of NPCs while driving.
Yeah, I know. Shouldn't do that either. All right, that's dangerous. So, Dr. Kafur, I'm sorry, I lost a little thread there because we were talking about accents.
He asked where we had heard of the Black Pharaoh.
Okay. And
it was a name that was mentioned.
Harmon, you read it in a book in the Penhew Foundation. The book was.
Yeah.
I can tell you the book. If you want to bring up that it was in the Penhew Foundation, that's fine. I just want to make sure you remember because you would remember the book name.
Yeah.
Let's see. Library.
Oh, Antiquities, something of Lower Egypt.
Proceedings of the Antiquities Service of Lower Egypt.
Wow, I actually just randomly opened my journal and that was there. Like, oh wow, I wrote it down.
Like the Black Pharaoh wanted you to open to that.
And what it said there, however, we cannot say with certainty that there is not, and never has been, any corroborated evidence for a so-called Black Pharaoh who ruled during the Third Dynasty. This figure is merely garbled folk tales used to frighten naughty children in the same way that we use stories of Black Shuck and Black Annis in dear old England.
Now, remind me, Dawson also heard something about a Black Pharaoh, but I don't know that Clyde retained that memory.
Clyde saw an image of a Black Pharaoh.
Okay. And we'd seen an image, or was it only Clyde? The image I'm thinking of, is that only the one that Clyde saw, or did we see it somewhere else?
You saw the bloody tongue on the pyramid when you were in Edward Shipley's attic. What was described as the bloody tongue. Clyde saw the Edward Geiger-looking painting of the Black Pharaoh, but he didn't see the painting of it. He saw that coming out of the deceased corpse of Miss Jasmine Pink.
Yes.
Okay. So
we didn't see that image. So I will relay what I read, and I'll say that I was doing some research at the Penhew Foundation while in London, and discovered a passage.
I'm sorry, I keep clicking over to the Twitch, and he saw the Black Pharaoh silly goose with the poor dead medium. Yep, that's exactly it. So, okay, sorry. You bring up that you saw it at the Penhew Foundation. I'm sorry, did you say that?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
The Penhew Foundation. Well, they used to do such excellent work. But wonderful colleagues in times past. But that book
was that under Professor Penhew himself, who
yes,
that was the gentleman that disappeared.
Yes, I
in
was
the Carlisle expedition.
I was several times a colleague with Dr. Penhew on a couple of his digs, or at least I offered advice. I shouldn't say I was out there digging, but I did assist with his researches on several occasions. Lovely chap.
And your tone suggests that their quality level has declined.
Well, I certainly don't mean to. And he looks over at Daisy, hearing the English accent, Rosie, and he says, I certainly don't mean to impugn the Penhew Foundation or the director. I have not yet met Edward Gavigan, but seems a sporting fellow.
From our experience, you should be thankful you've not.
Right, he isn't a great guy, really.
Well, perhaps, I mean, his thoughts.
You're not going to offend us by saying bad things about him.
Well, no, I am guarded because I don't know my own thoughts. His scholarly work is excellent. He's well regarded.
Seemed quite put together, but as a human being, just had something lacking.
Understood. Well, I mean, that might explain why there have been, since the Carlisle expedition in 1919, there have been 10 expeditions to Egypt founded by the Carlisle expedition, each one ending in more and more of a disaster. People lost, artifacts lost, unexplainable deaths.
You mentioned
grow weary of some of their attempts to discover things, but they do allow a great deal of the artifacts to come to our museum, even though they have paid all of the proper clearances to move them to their own museum. Sorry.
But you mentioned that there was much cursed of Queen Nitocris's reign and the reign before her. Are the digs that they're pursuing all related to that period?
All right, are you guys ready for the lore dump? Because
I think we need the information.
I have been eating my lore fiber.
All right, here it comes. Because it's a colon blow. Here comes the lore dump. I just decided it would be easier to read this out of the book for the most part than to RP it, because I will miss something. And you guys have asked all the right questions. So, Dr. Kafur begins to tell you about the third dynasty of Egypt. A man known as, and I will type the name in, Nephrin Ka, came to Egypt. Nephrin Ka was a powerful sorcerer. He brought madness and death to his enemies at the flick of a finger. The stories say that he came from an ancient city in the deserts of Arabia, whose name was Irem, the City of Pillars. Neferin-Ka revived the worship of an old foul god, the Black Pharaoh. Neferin-Ka and that god were interchangeable in the minds of the people, and the sorcerer became known as the Black Pharaoh. Now, no one can distinguish between their deeds and legends. Now no one can All right. For many years, the Black Pharaoh fought with Zozers. This just sounds like Gozer from Ghostbusters. Fought with Zozer's successors of the Third Dynasty for control of the land. So great was the power of the Black Pharaoh that no record of them now remains. For a time, Neferin-Ka ruled the Nile and its peoples. At last, Sneferu rose and founded the Fourth Dynasty, and with the aid of the goddess Isis thwarted the evil magic and slew Neferin-Ka. Remarkably, a pyramid was built at Maidum by Sneferu's command to contain the sorcerer's body. Kafur speculates, Kafur being me, speculates that this perhaps insulated Egypt from the still potent magic within the corpse. However, the Maidum pyramid collapsed, and a second, which was already under construction, was hurriedly repurposed. This second pyramid is now known as the Bent Pyramid at Dashur. Records imply that Neferin-Ka's corpse was removed from Maidum and placed within the Bent Pyramid, but exploration of the site has discovered no trace, despite rumors of a hidden chamber within. Alright, he's going to tell all this much better than it's written here. I could not RP all this. Another pyramid at Dashur, the Red Pyramid, is also attributed to Sneferu. This pyramid is said to guard Dashur, lest Neferin-Ka rise from the dead. Upon his triumph, Sneferu ordered all races of the Black Pharaoh stricken from the land. Nevertheless, worshippers of the Black Pharaoh remained and schemed for the evil one's return. In time, the worshippers were driven south out of Egypt and into the hideous swamps beyond the Sudan. In the 6th dynasty, Queen Nitocris was thought to be in league with a new cult of the Black Pharaoh. Though the proof of this is subjective, Dr. Kafur believes it to be true. In an aside, Dr. Kafur casually mentions that the Black Pharaoh is sometimes called Nyarlathotep. So, couple more things. I'm sorry, there's a lot here. You guys, this is the big mother load, middle of the campaign lore dump. Some say he was one of a pantheon of abominable deities more ancient than the gods of Egypt. Those old gods were utterly inhuman and dedicated to chaos and madness. Neferin-Ka was said to possess a huge beast, of which the Sphinx at Giza is but a small, inaccurate representation. The voice of Neferin-Ka is said to have been carried throughout the land upon a black wind, a wind which destroyed at his wind. One prophecy implies that the Black Pharaoh will arise fingers and toes after the great good one. Manlike but inhuman worshippers of the Black Pharaoh were said to lurk underground in the deserts, occasionally waylaying the innocent passerby. And the Great Sphinx at Giza is said to have had an important function in rituals held by Queen Nitocris. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, please, you have more, probably.
No, he will answer questions at this point, so go ahead.
Who's
We're in
the
Q&A period?
Yeah, we have entered the Q&A, yeah.
who's this great good one?
Well, some people believe that to be, and he says not many of the masses, but to believe that to be the Jesus Christ.
Oh, Like, so he's some sort of Antichrist.
Well, yeah, or perhaps
fingers and toes of Antichrist.
yeah. Some speculate that we have 10 fingers, 10 toes. That it will be 20 centuries after this Christ. Yeah, after the Christ.
Purdy's now counting on his fingers. He's out of this conversation.
Okay. Does he have enough fingers? Are you missing any?
We're not revealing all of Purdy's secrets on this stream.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was.
You can tune into OnlyFans.
I didn't realize there was a Purdy OnlyFans.
We're monetizing that information.
Yeah. Awesome.
Could you repeat who was in the red pyramid?
In the red pyramid, no, Tasha, stop it, please. Okay.
Seems like an interesting pharaoh name.
I read that badly, so a good question, Robin. This is actually important because I should reread it and clarify it. In the bent pyramid is supposedly where the sorcerer was laid, Nephrin Ka.
After the first one collapsed,
correct.
They moved him there
to the bent pyramid. Then nearby is the red pyramid, is also attributed to Snefiru. This pyramid is said to guard Dashur. It doesn't say who's buried in it. It seems implied to me that that's where Snefiru is buried, but it doesn't say. So, but the red pyramid is there to guard against the rise of the sorcerer from the bent pyramid.
What do you know about Snefiru's calling on the power of Isis?
Well, the belief from those who are aware of the older elder gods is that the power of the new gods protects us. They are very old to us now, but that Ra and Isis and all of them have some ability to shield us from the chaos and disorder of these elder gods.
But you said earlier that the Snefiru, with the aid of Isis, it's suggested that Isis was acting in a more proactive way than. And I understand how this may sound to our modern minds as a myth or story, but it sounds as though perhaps at the time they believed that Isis was acting in a more proactive way rather than simply lending some protection. Is that your understanding of the stories?
Yes, it does appear that way. At least that's the belief. Yes. That Isis came to the aid of Snefiru, who asked for her aid, and sealed away this sorcerer.
Are there any accounts that you've seen of in what manner that occurred?
I'm sorry, can you re-ask that question? I'm trying to get my kids' attention to feed the dogs.
Have you found any writings that describe the manner in which ISIS manifested or did this?
No, not that I am aware of. Only the records that imply a strong belief in that pantheon of gods. As men of science, we have to take these things with a grain of salt, but personally, as a man of faith, having seen strange things, I have to believe perhaps something out of the ordinary occurred.
I share that view. Strange things indeed.
Strange things.
Have there been any modern expeditions to the Bent Pyramid or the Red Pyramid? Any recent ones?
Probably by the Penny Foundation.
Indeed, just so. They appear to have been there sometime. It's my understanding they were there 5 years ago. Just after the Carlisle expedition, the catastrophic end that came to that.
I've been in the expeditions there, not by them.
Yes, lesser, not well-funded expeditions. Turning up nothing.
Well, there would be little to turn up if... Well, I don't want to speculate wildly, but if the Penhew Foundation were to remove things and not tell anyone about them...
That's been a suspicion, but they have cataloged many items. They've been vetted by their own government, and it's difficult to cast aspersions on them. They have funded many digs that are not directly related to their interests as well. They have been good patrons, but
I don't personally find it difficult to cast aspersions on them at all.
well, I have only recently come to the conclusion that over the last 5 years they have had a tremendous run of bad luck, and perhaps they bring their own bad luck upon themselves.
And right now,
Perhaps-
oh, never mind.
Well, perhaps there's
No,
more to
please.
these curses.
Well, perhaps the Black Pharaoh does not wish to be disturbed. Or perhaps he does, and he requires much. It's hard to say.
Can I, like, what was the relationship between Nitocris and this Black Pharaoh guy? Were they, like, married?
No, it would have been some. I actually have no idea, but probably centuries in between those two.
But can I, so I understand, but they're still listed as the two adjacent pharaohs, or am I way off?
No, they're not adjacent pharaohs. There was the Black Pharaoh, then Sneferu, who started the 4th dynasty and started an entirely different dynasty. Then Nitocris came in the 6th dynasty.
I got that's what I was forgetting. Okay,
And
thank you.
but she had ties to the cult of the Black Pharaoh that had already taken root since prior to the 3rd destiny. Does that make dynasty? Does that make sense?
No, yep.
You
yeah.
are my density. But yeah, the dynasty. Yep.
Okay.
And so right now, the Penhew Foundation, they funded an expedition to Memphis. Is that where they currently are?
That is correct. And Memphis
And
is.
that's Dr. Henry Clive leading that.
Yes, Dr. Henry Clyde is leading that. And I believe, let me look at this here map. So you can see they're south of the ruins of Memphis, and perhaps that could be the Red Pyramid. And so he's.
I mean, yeah.
So he
Seems a little further south. I guess I would say like more west of Dashur than south of Memphis, if
Right.
I were describing that.
Right.
But
yeah, they originally were starting in Memphis, and he doesn't know, but he would not be. It would not surprise him to hear that they had perhaps followed a lead down there. But the Nitocris would have been found in Memphis, perhaps, or where does he say? Okay. So, according to Dr. Kafur, he believes that the unidentified mummy that was, he believes, stolen from the Clive expedition was undoubtedly the remains of Nitocris. And he says, interestingly, she was buried alive. Not well loved in her own time, as it turns out.
Well, let's hope she wasn't exhumed alive.
Well, that would be quite a feat indeed. But I mean, if you are wishing to know more about the recent finds and or discoveries of the Clive expedition. I know in town there is a recently fired archaeologist named John Willem van Heuvelen.
We met.
Ah, I see. My understanding is he is fond of alcohol.
I think that he is, but I also think there's some rumor added to that, perhaps by the expedition attempting to discredit him. He was not kind to them in his belief that they were not properly cataloging their discoveries, and that they were perhaps hiding things that they found.
Well, that may be. Historically, they have been relatively good about recording what they've found.
You say that they've given much to the museum, but it seems to me as though they may have taken even more.
Right, I mean, you wouldn't know. Like, they might be cataloging things, but not everything. And if there's a lot of things there, it'd be very easy just to be like, well, we found all these things, and then keeping some of the things for themselves.
It wouldn't be the first time that we'd seen evidence of them keeping 2 sets of books.
This is, I suppose, I mean, I have to admit this is new information for me. I was not aware.
They don't have anyone overseeing them, right?
No, they have proper clearances, but no, I don't know if you're aware. It's just a lot of disarray here in Egypt right now.
Right, but that's my point. There's no one overseeing them to make sure what they're entering into the books is accurate information.
No, I suppose that is true.
You're depending only on the word that what they've cataloged is true. And so, like my friend says, 2 sets of books would be quite easy to maintain.
He looks uncomfortable in this conversation because his wife walked into the office and just waved at people randomly. And no, he looks uncomfortable at this conversation because he's obviously been a benefactory. It's very clear for you to read that. I'm not going to ask for a roll. It's very clear to read that he's been a benefactor of the Penn Foundation, and I mean, I'm not even going to ask for a roll for this because I've led into it enough. Like, he's clearly got some misgivings because looking at, and so part of his assuaging, if that's the word, that's how it's pronounced. I don't think it's assuage, but maybe it is.
You're right.
Assuage. His guilt is kind of telling you that he's got these misgivings.
Yeah.
And that's like a small bit that he's willing to.
From the little bit that we've seen and heard to date, I think that you were probably absolutely correct about their academic persuasions prior to the Carlisle expedition. I think that they were likely what they appear to be to many fronts now then. As an honest and forthright and an organization working toward the betterment of education. Something's changed, though, and I think you've seen that.
Well, let me tell you something. And now he gets conspiratorial. This Carlisle expedition was the beginning of a big problem, and I don't know what it is. But Sir Aubrey Penhew and I were colleagues. We spoke many times about the Black Pharaoh. We talked many times about Queen Nitocris. His interests seemed academic. His interests seemed the same as mine, hoping to discover truth. But when he came to Egypt...
Well, my friend, archaeology is the search for facts. If you want truth, philosophy's down the hall.
He just kind of blinks at you. Fair enough. I sometimes get lost in my own museum. But and take back Tarikadam for the Hebrews God. Anyway, sorry. We're gonna drop in the all right. I had to blink there. I was like, Indiana Jones. Okay. So the last time my friend visited, though, he was a changed man. He was. It's my belief that when they were in Egypt before they left for Kenya, they found the Black Pharaoh, and he makes a warning symbol in the air, and he
Like he was just sitting having coffee? Like he was alive?
he was alive the last time. Oh, that he met the Black Pharaoh.
Not the Black Pharaoh. The Black Pharaoh they did not find alive.
I'm not sure if alive or dead applies to something like the Black Pharaoh. I think it is beyond all that. But I did visit him on their dig, and he was always so
not the Black Pharaoh.
Penview, Aubrey, and there was something strange about him. He appeared to have lost years. He was a much more youthful man. When last I had seen him, he was in his 60s. He looked to be a man of his late 40s. He was vigorous and, well, I guess the best word to use is rude. He was mean-spirited. He rebuffed all of my questions. He practically threw me out of the tent. I drove back here with no information about what they were doing, and then he left soon after for Kenya.
I wish I could say that this was surprising information, but it frankly isn't.
I don't know what the Carlisle Foundation found, but is the key to everything. Whatever is happening, whatever's happened with all these expeditions the Penhu Foundation funds here starts with that.
Can I ask you a rather strange question?
All of these questions are strange.
Well, all the information we've read seems to imply that the expedition perished.
Yes.
Do you believe that's true, that they perished, that all of them are dead?
I do. But I have no reason to believe otherwise. If you have... I would not cast aspersions on knowledge you have that I do not. I've seen too many strange things.
Right. Well,
Can I ask a less strange question?
Oh.
I don't know if you're a man about town, but you seem like you might know a few people. Do you want to come out with us tomorrow night at our hotel bar?
Oh, no, I do not drink.
We'd love to check in with you with whatever we learned in the meantime.
No, I am quite comfortable here. If you wish to see me again, though, I will gladly speak with you again.
All right. Yeah. Well, just so you know, we'll probably be down there, or at least I'll be down there, sometime between 3 p.m. and maybe 3 a.m. So if you're bored, I'll be there.
Understood. I will remember that. But I do not drink.
I asked, Doctor. Sorry, I don't mean to disrupt your social planning there. But the reason I asked was, if a man who was in his 60s starts to look like he's in his 40s, acts very different, very strange, has information, knowledge, access to something that maybe no one should have access to, it seems like the best thing for them would be to make it at least appear as if they've all perished, so they can continue whatever work they might be doing that shouldn't be known or shouldn't be done. If they're acting different and strange, other people are going to notice as well, right? So, appearing to be dead...
It's anonymity.
Yes.
I have not thought as you are thinking. But
Well, nobody really does. I know I kind of think my own way, but
no,
sometimes I'm right.
I wished I don't wish to impugn your intelligence or your character. I just have not had those thoughts. They bear. I will ponder that. Is
Well, and that being, with that information possible, are there any other things that might have popped up that made you think, this would have seemed like my old friend, but alas, he's dead. It couldn't be him. Any links?
no, sadly, I have not heard anything of his or anyone else. Are you of the belief that somehow they survived? That the bodies
I don't
found
know.
in
I don't
Kenya?
know, but I just think it would benefit them to appear to have died if they're getting involved in something like the Black Pharaoh, from what you
Well,
just shared.
a friend of ours did mention a rumor of seeing one of them years later in Hong Kong.
I have.
Someone who was supposedly killed on the expedition.
I think I said
who-
rumor, yes.
Who might that have been?
The friend or the person that was seen?
The person who told you they saw somebody from the expedition.
Well, it came from our friend Jackson Elias.
Elias. Jackson Elias. I remember him quite distinctly. I'd only met him the one time. He came in here, he was nervous. Had a nervous tic, kept looking over any sound from the hallway, and he was half out of his chair reaching into his breast pocket where I assume he carried some sort of revolver. He asked me quite a bit about the Carlisle expedition as well. It all hangs together now. You are associates of Mr. Elias. That's I knew he was working on a book. I have not yet seen the publication of it.
You're unlikely to. He was killed shortly after returning to the States.
He was supposed to meet me the 2 days after our first meeting. He never showed up. I assumed he was busy. He was like I said, he was a hurried man, but I am saddened to hear of his passing. If there are other inquiries you wish made, I would be happy to undertake them for you on your behalf. I too am interested in this, but my skills, I call myself an archaeologist, but I'm a librarian. I'm a historian.
We find ourselves in that role frequently.
Yes, I find I don't like the heat and the sun and the shovel quite as much as I enjoy a book, a good fan system, and a nice quiet room to study in.
Well, and there we find ourselves as opposites.
Yes.
So perhaps if things play out, maybe a partnership will be in the works.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure to make all of your acquaintances, and he shakes all of your hands. Of course.
Just
Of course.
curious.
Of course.
If one were trying to get things out of this country illegally, do you have any idea of how one might do that? We're not looking to do that, but if the Penhu Foundation is trying to do something like that,
all of these things can be found if one has cash. You would not need my assistance to find this on the street.
okay. So there isn't some underground kind of information you're aware of.
Almost anyone will help anyone for some money.
The chaos again.
If you have currency that is spendable, someone will find a way to assist you.
Gotcha.
And they will also figure out a way to rob you afterwards. Not all of them.
And that,
but
I think that's the actual thing, right? Not just getting it out, but reliably getting it out without somebody betraying you or stealing what you're already stealing. That, I think, is what makes the question more difficult.
Well, there was a man I was aware of. His name was, he was a Frenchman, Warren Bessart. He has not been in the trade for some time. I think he ran afoul of the authorities and is since lying low, but my understanding is he's still in the country. But he was where the rich went, I think. And he had many, many sources. He might be somebody who you would find value in speaking with.
I think we've heard before. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. I
And
know...
Doctor, my
go
my
ahead.
condolences. I know what it is to be an academic and a man of science suddenly coming face to face with these things that defy science, and so I feel for you, having gone through it myself.
Well, take heart, friend, because what I have found is these are exciting mysteries to explore. Provided I can do it from the benefit of a very cushy chair in a library, but I
With the lights on.
find myself extremely intrigued by this. This is fascinating information. Things most people don't know, nor need to know. And I will ask you all to make a psychology check. Okay. He seems very enthusiastic. Like, you get the sense that he's leading to another topic, but not willing to go any further with it. And nothing occurs to you necessarily as a prompt to ask more about that, unless you have something. I don't want to kill RP, but there would have been a hint if there was a success there. So, but otherwise, he thanks you for bringing this information to him. He does seem charmed by the three of you in a sort of conspiratorial learning more, but also getting to pass on his knowledge to people who don't think he's crazy for having it. And you have an ally, as I guess what I'm saying here. If you need to take advantage of him for library use, museum search use, anything else, you have a contact, is what I'm saying.
Sir, if you are, I re-extend the offer. If you're around tomorrow evening, we will be down in that bar. And you are welcome to join us, even if it's just to kick your feet off and enjoy your evening.
We'll be there if we haven't been devoured by a black pharaoh by then.
Yes, hopefully that is not so. I will bear that under advisement. Thank you for the invitation. Anything else? All right. And
Fresh out ideas.
Salim Aziz is in a hurry now to get you back to Shepherd's. I don't think Dawson is at his computer yet, but maybe he is. Did anybody get a message?
Do we want to have Salim send his cousin?
He will actually say he is in a rush, and he will tell you where to meet his cousin. If you would like
Purdy
to meet
is very interested in learning who his new employer is. With the idea that if it's the Penhue Foundation or some version of the Penhue Foundation, I'm a prized employee of that place. I am willing to work.
All right.
And I carry large bags of sand.
Give me a charm check. Because he does not want to reveal the identity of his clients. Much as you would not want me to reveal what we just did. And all the crazy shit he just heard.
Oh, it's so bad.
Was he sitting in that office with us?
He wouldn't have been sitting in the office with you guys.
2 levels of success.
Okay. I made you roll, but it's sort of disappointing. It is a English dignitary who is here basically to meet with several power players as far as setting up more of the provisional government and all of that trade. It's a kind of a letdown. He is not connected in any way that you can discern to the Clive, and he is very much wanting you to be kept to secrecy on that. That is not to be known.
Well,
But you are, charming.
If you're a famous dignitary person, needs someone to hang out with this evening, I'll be down at the bar.
I will let him know that a Oklahoman would like to speak with him.
No, I just speak Oklahoman.
Oh, you're not from Oklahoman?
Well, I grew up in New England.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that near England?
You know where that is? No, I mean it's kind of near here to England. To England. I don't know.
I'll let him know that the new English.
Ask those guys. They're the fancy learning types.
We'll do that, sir.
They are not near at all. In fact, our nation likes to depend on an economy of scale that is rather large.
I see. Well, thank you very much for your patronage. I appreciated serving you. And he does a bow and stands there for a while.
Hey, and the offer extends to you. If you are bored tonight, we'll be in the bar.
I'll give him a couple dollars.
He takes the money. I will remember that. And he gives a little bow to Colt, and then returns to the concierge and is given his instructions for where to meet his next client. I need a bio break, so I'm gonna put us on break here, and then I guess we'll just have to do another break when Dawson shows up if we need to. But I'm gonna put us on a bit of a pause here, and we'll be right back, if that's okay with you guys.
Yep.
I'm waiting to hear first. All right, cool. And I'll make sure I hit the right mute buttons this time. Yep, we're going live with the volume.
All right. Hey guys, I'm gonna walk back to the hotel because I'm worried about Clyde in that toilet, and I'm worried he might, ruin our deposit on that hotel. So
is that actually the in-game?
about 15 minutes or so, and I will let you know if he's okay.
All right. So Colt is going to walk over to Semiramis, where they have other rooms, and where Carl has been pooping for the last 4 hours.
It's amazing.
If this doesn't make you
Gatorade
not
existed,
ever
I've
miss
seen one.
a session, like when you miss a session,
You're
bad things happen
poop
with
a
your
lot.
character.
You're
Yeah.
pooping.
We're not creative enough to come up with a real reason for you not to be with us, so.
I do enjoy that this is Call of Cthulhu, the horror game, and we're like, what's he doing? He's pooping. If I were really a keeper, like a hook horror would come out from the
Right?
toilet.
Because we're supposed to never be off on our own, but we were just like, yeah, we'll just leave Colt by himself. Or wait, which
In
is
a really
Carl.
vulnerable position as you're
Yeah,
pooping.
yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Sounds more like poop Tulu.
yeah. Call of your colon. Anyway, all right, we're back. The colon of Cthulhu.
That's the adventure Clyde's currently on.
But the elder gods have, anyway. All right. So, the great god of the deep has called.
Metamucil, the elder god, has rained his judgment upon Clyde.
Rained judgment is right. All right. So, you have returned to the Shepherd Hotel, and your dragoman has reported back to the concierge's desk, where he is being introduced to his new client, who looks to have quite an entourage. You were given instructions to go 3 blocks south, and right outside what appears to be a confectioner shop, that if he's not there, he will be there eventually, and to look for a boy of about 12 to 14, very I sort of picture him as one of the Baker Street irregulars in Sherlock Holmes stories, or an Oliver Twist type, artful dodger type. But he is, when you approach this, 3 doors down, you can start to smell the honey and the sugar of what's being made in this bakery confectioner shop, and there's a young boy out there who seems to be sort of hustling. He is doing a version of the shell game on the ground, and has a couple of they appear to you to be American rubes, like these are tourists who are just sort of taken in by the cuteness, and there are a couple of American bills on the floor as they watch this kid bemusedly working the shell game on him.
And I roll a spot hidden to see where the ball is.
You can roll a spot hidden.
Well, I might, if the system catches up.
It's doing its thing.
It might be.
All of the internets are netting. Or they're not.
We might get 2 of them. It's not coming through.
Okay. We could just try the rolling the dice here, the D100, and see what happens. Will that go through, or are you like queued up?
That didn't do anything either.
Oh,
Right.
here comes.
I tried it just to see if it worked.
49. Yep, you got it. So
But I wasn't.
Well,
needing
yours
to
yours
look.
went through?
Yep,
Yeah,
Dustin.
I just wanted to see if it went through.
Oh, maybe I need to refresh.
I think you might, because I just rolled and I got 39. Do you guys see my 39 roll?
Yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
anything.
Okay, yeah, you
Yeah,
might
you
you
might
might
need
need
to
to boot
refresh.
that back up.
Yeah, I got fully kicked out of Forge. When I tried to refresh, it told me I had to log in to see that game.
Oh gosh.
That sucks so bad. Corey, you rolled an 8 and failed because it was an any check.
Well, I can't log back in because I'm already in. You have to kick me out before I can log in.
Oh, really? It won't let you just quit the game?
Nope, I can't
Maybe
because
they-
I went to refresh and it
All right, you've been
told me
kicked.
I needed to log in.
You've been kicked, Ed.
What's an any check?
I just picked one and it happened to be that one. It didn't, like I wasn't even reading because I don't have my glasses on. And
I still can't log in.
Foundry needs to increase their font size because old men like me.
My user is not available.
All right. Everybody, we're going to restart this game. So,
Let's do
Corey
it.
and Robin, you're going to get kicked as well. And I'm going to restart the game.
See you tomorrow, guys.
I don't think I properly restarted. Hold on. There we go. Oh, it won't let me log in as the game master because I'm apparently already in there.
Yep.
Leaving. I don't want to leave.
I'm having to.
All right, I'm just gonna get out of that. All right, start over. Call of Cthulhu, said Dawson. All right, Forge launch.
Oh, Game Master's available now, but I'm not.
Yeah, Dawson's
I'm still in.
Yeah, I never.
No
got-
problem.
Okay, you two are So Ed,
I see Ed. Yeah, I do. Ed, are you in already or no?
No, I can't get in because
it's-
I'm already in, but I
and-
can't
and
actually do anything.
and I
Weird.
kicked you, and it put you right back in. So I'm gonna kick you again. Ed has been kicked from the world. Then I'm
And
gonna.
it's weird because I don't see him listed there. You know, like usually
Did
when
for
someone.
a moment, but yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
refreshed, and he's right back in.
So I don't see him now.
No, I don't.
Let me
see him.
refresh and see. God, Ed is like herpes. Just can't get rid of it.
This is
I mean,
really
I'll
weird.
that way.
I'm gonna user configuration.
Should we all just close and come back in to make sure that none of us are in there?
Yeah, probably. If everybody just,
Except I will still be in there
I'm gonna.
because I have had that window closed for ages now.
Yeah, but I'm gonna shut the game down, like do the hard shutdown. So I'm gonna go back to Forge, and it should shut the game down. Now
Do you want to take a break? Isn't that going to mess up your camera work?
Nope.
Okay.
Because I have us on a screen that's just our cameras because there's no reason for a map right now. All right, I have shut the game down. Did you guys? You wouldn't get booted because one of the beautiful things about Foundry is you guys can go in when I'm not there, but you should only have access to your character sheets.
I'm gonna. I just closed Chrome. Completely,
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I left.
I'm
but
gonna.
when I'm selecting user, I saw
Now I
Ed
see that everybody is able to select themselves except me. I'm already in. Everybody else is out of the game.
You
I'm
might-
still in it.
What? And you're playing on Chrome?
Yep.
Maybe clear your cookies. Unless you want to keep them, I don't know. But maybe the last 4 hours of cookies.
Yeah, it does say you're in there. I went back in and it says you're there.
Yeah, and when I tried to refresh because the rolls weren't showing up, it told me I had to log in to see it,
Yeah.
Wow, that's.
but it never logged me out.
It is so bizarre.
How far out is the pooper? Because we'll just go on break again here quick and get this sorted while we're, and then I don't have to go on break. Now I'm showing the Twitch chat in. It's sort of funny when I put that one up. It actually cuts the same thing.
Yeah, so I tried fully logging out of Forge, and it logged me out, but it didn't get me out of the game.
And you have no other windows open randomly.
Nope.
Oh.
Maybe do. I'm gonna put us on break. 1 second. We'll be right back. Go, we're live. Hi, everybody. We're going to be doing some video cutting while a hayclide occurs. Yay!
Hey, Clyde,
Yes, party.
you really should apologize to this entire floor. I suggest some
I have no
handwritten.
idea what you mean.
I suggest.
Apologize for what?
I don't know what your handwriting's like, but I'm sure someone in our party has good handwriting.
I mean, I can write, but for what?
Maybe
Who am I
a,
apologizing to?
maybe a basket of fragrances to each individual room for the
what?
trauma you caused them.
I think you're walking in circles right here. What are you trying to get at?
Poopery.
I don't even know what a circle is. I'm not even walking. You know that.
So you tell me your boots were made for walking, but you have no idea what you're doing?
Clyde, I think you might still be a little feverish, and maybe
I'm completely fine. What
you
is
want to lay down. I would recommend you lay down anywhere else except this very smelly room.
It is not
I have
letting
laid
me out
down
it.
plenty on that damn boat, and I ain't going back to laying down for a bit.
It won't let me edit. I don't know what's going on.
The internet is against us.
It is really against us tonight. Like
It's
like
a curse. It's a curse.
like the only person who's coming in correctly is Dawson.
Yay!
I mean,
Here, wouldn't I cover
his
it perfectly? Because it's me we're talking about here.
All right,
his presence is overwhelming.
we're gonna end this stream, and I will be back. We will be back in like, I hope, 2 to 3 minutes. 1 second, everybody will be back in